Ugandan favor, these your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under that deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to that church.
Amen. Item number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I welcome you to today's sitting. We are 2 days in the House, and I get surprised that members are already tired of being in the House. And I want the public to know out there that the money that is being paid to the members is taxpayers' money. So if you cannot be in the House, I have always asked the question, where are you? Clerk, the rules are very clear, 15 days. If you miss, and I want you to start roll calling from yesterday. And I'm saying roll calling from yesterday, 15 sittings. Failure for you to attend the sitting, then an action will be taken. Remember, we can have a by-election in your constituency. Yesterday, we adjourned the House prematurely, and that was due to the absence of the relevant ministers in the House at the time of consideration of the report of local government, Park local government, and to my surprise, up to now, the minister, I can see the front desk is still free. I only see the usual faces. Honorable Bahati, we must really thank you. Rule 1141 of the Rules of Procedure requires ministers to attend sittings of the House, and sub-rule 2 of the same rule mandates the lead of government business to ensure attendance. I don't know who is the lead of government business for today. The absence of the ministers yesterday was there for a breach of Rule 114, which is really fundamental. Honorable ministers and honorable members, the reason I circulate the order paper early is because we want. The reason I circulate the order paper early, because I want the ministers to be aware of what is in the order paper and make sure that they do attend. Honorable members, I urge you to prepare and be available in the House for the House business. Let people not just come here for leisure. We are not going to allow that. Yesterday, we met with the Deputy Inspector General of Police. That was Major General Kasgasi, to express the concerns of the rampant cases of border accidents on the roads. There is a video that has been compiled by police on the accidents, and is circulating around. And indeed, the accidents are rampant and are bad. One of our members last night also got an accident, but we thank God he's not in a bad shape. Honorable Nantongo. we thank God for her life. The cost of these accidents is really too much. And some of them are because of the bad roads. But mostly they are caused by the border borders. And these border borders need to be very, very careful and respect other road users. And we need to urgently address this issue of the accidents, both Parliament and police and all the road users. So we urge the Minister of Works to work together with the police and ensure this is corrected. Honorable members, I have always heard in the corridors of Parliament, of all over, that we are seated in a place that is not ours, that has already been mortgaged. We have been following up on the issue of the land belonging to Parliament. And today, I want to tell you officially where we are. Plot 16 and plot 18, all this land belongs to Parliament, and I've got the land title today. So I will officially hand over the land title to the clerk. You need a copy. I will give a copy to everybody who wants. This land belongs to all of you. The land is for Uganda Parliamentary Commission, PO Box 7178, Kampala, and it is from plot 16 to 18. Honorable members, under Rule 1573 and Rule 164 of the Rules of Procedure, as a Dean of Independence, I designate the following independents who are in the Committee of Appointments Committee to other committees. Honorable Margaret Rabushaija to the Committee of Climate Change. Honorable Lamwaka Margaret to the Committee of Public Accounts, that's COSASE. Honorable Musila John to the Committee of Public Accounts, Local Government. Those in favor of the designation of those members to those new committees, say aye, and those to the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. The members have been designated. Honorable members, during recess, I sought a public opinion on areas that would want to be a priority from the public. And I put a question that as we go back to the House, what does the public expect of us as the leaders of the people? And we got a number of suggestions from the public. One of them was affordable housing to curb the housing deficit. Affordable housing. The other one was on the national health insurance for all Ugandans. That is one of the issues that was raised. Then the other one was the cost and quality of education in Uganda. Sanitary pads that were promised to all the girl children at school, to regularize the labor exportation, harmonization of the remuneration of public servants. There was an issue on human rights, equity and fairness in taxation. As we embark the budget process, I urge you to and to ensure that we allocate money onto those issues, such that the public now gets to know that we do work for them. If it is laws that should be brought, like the one of the national health insurance, Dr. Chen, that is what the public wants to hear from your sector. Honorable members, you'll allow me to vary the order paper to accommodate a motion of reconsideration of the Public Health Amendment Bill 2022 as returned by the President immediately after the pension bill. I want to thank you once more and thank you for coming. Yes. Not Solomon. King Kizzy.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for your touching communication, especially on the matters of concern from the public. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, especially on the matter of cost and quality education. Right Honorable Speaker, it is true, your observations are really typical of what is in the public, and I would want to bring to your attention, Right Honorable Speaker, that the State House Anti-Corruption Unit is in the Uganda, outside the districts, arresting head teachers who have asked money from the parents. But Madam Speaker, last year and this year, there is no budget from the Ministry of Education that was meant to construct or rehabilitate the primary classrooms. Now, in the event where we don't have classrooms, what does the government expect? How does the government expect these children to survive if they don't provide money? If we don't provide any money to rehabilitate these primary schools, because they are in the temporary structures, some are under trees. So I would request, Madam Speaker, that the Anti-Corruption State House Anti-Corruption Unit should also work hand in hand with other technocrats to appreciate the situation we are all in as Ugandans, not just going to have those arrests which are not informed by facts. Two, Madam Speaker, on the issue of remuneration, apparently we are going to have half-baked students, because, Madam Speaker, the science teachers have taken 2 months without any pay. Two, the art teachers are also grappling with a meager payment, and therefore that imbalance itself is going to cause a very irrational education, which is going to cost this country in the future. In the future, Madam Speaker, can the government, before you take a decision, have an analysis, a study, such that you make a decision that is informed by facts, other than just coming in to pronounce a statement that is going to cost this country? Because, Madam Speaker, I'm a teacher by training, and also I have in this recess interacted with the teachers, the schools. People, the teachers are not teaching, they don't have morale, and we are going to have half-baked results in terms of quality education. And notwithstanding, Madam Speaker, there is an issue of this vocational skilling, where we are saying we're going to give a certificate of competence. Madam Speaker, I'm told there is even a certificate for being an MC. A senior 3 is going to graduate with a certificate of being an MC. Can we remove these jokes when it comes to education, Madam Speaker? I salute you, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Members, thank you so much. What I think we should do, since this is a cry from the public, can we have this put on the order paper for us to be discussed? So that we look at sector by sector. If they are talking about education, we put it on education. If it is on health, we put it on health. So can we, clerk, can we have this on the order paper so that we discuss what the public wants to hear out there? Is that seconded? Yes.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I want to thank Honourable Kaberuka for the information he has given. Honourable Speaker, this very house, I raised issues dealing with.
Who has given information?
Honourable, I want to thank for.
He was reacting on the information I gave.
Okay,
The
thank you.
information I gave is that I did a survey from the public, asking the public, what would you want us to legislate on? Yes.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for that good information. And I want to thank you very much for that good survey. But Honourable Speaker, the procedure matter I'm raising, there are a number of issues I've raised here, and Honourable Speaker, you direct the Minister of Education to come and respond to them. But I don't know why Minister of Education is refusing to respond to these issues. Honourable Speaker, just the New Vision last Saturday, I think, Sunday, read a story that there are 286 secondary schools in Uganda without head teachers. Then they went on giving this of teachers missing in those schools. Teacher training colleges, Honourable Speaker, I raised them here. The teachers have run out of teacher training colleges, tutors are not teaching, and you're going to lose teachers. We are not going to have teachers in the next future. But Honourable Speaker, the procedure matter I'm raising, recently, when the children were burnt, the blind girls, the children, the Minister of Education went there and he said that she never knew the school, and yet it's a government school earning salary. Teachers are getting salary and payroll, but the minister was there saying she doesn't know that school that is part of government schools. So the procedure matter I'm raising, couldn't we get time to find out why we raise issues here on the floor of Parliament? You give directives to ministers, and they adamantly refuse to come back to respond to the issues we give on the floor of Parliament. Because these matters, if they continue holding them, these are the challenges we are having. Honourable Speaker, as we talk now, science teachers and arts are also getting 4 million, some of them. And I was talking to Honourable Mukasa recently. He said that it's going to deduct money from the arts teachers who got their 4 million. But I raised the matter here that what is going to be done to arts teachers who are not given 4 million. The minister promised to come here, nothing is happening. Head teachers are running out to become blackboard teachers, and they are not having teachers going to become head teachers. The issue in education is very serious. In Kalungu alone, Honourable Speaker, as I talk now, in my district where I come from, we have over 30 schools, primary, without toilets. And the government has only released for only 2 schools to build 2 stances of toilets, where we have children in a school ranging from 500 to 600 to use 2 stances for toilets. The issue with education, we are in a time bomb, and if we play around with this matter, we are all heading for doom, and these people who hit our heads as we move on at night. So the procedure matter right now speak. The Prime Minister, lead of government business, failing to enter appearance in this Parliament. Yet we have been here, Honourable Bua was here with me. We know if the Prime Minister is going to come late, he informs the Speaker early enough. That is within your notice that we handle matters which don't need the Prime Minister first, then we move on under your prerogative. But here we are, ministers, driving vehicles, lady cars everywhere, policemen, and with the fuel, yet we don't have even police vehicles in our constituencies, districts. So they are enjoying life, but promising heaven and earth, right now, Speaker, in the appointments committee. When I'm appointed the minister, I will do this, I will jump over this, I will do this. That kind of business is killing Parliament, and we must come out as members of Parliament to fight for these matters.
There's
So you
an
can
order.
keep your order till next week, Honourable Member.
Honorable members, For me, my concern is about attendance of ministers. Whether you qualify or you don't. You heard from what the president said, we have fisher women and fishermen, and I can't go against what the president said. Honorable members, I have already said, we are going to have a discussion on all these matters. Dr. Cheng has even told me she has a bill on the national insurance, national health insurance. Can we have those bills? Can we have a discussion on quality education, on issues that have been raised on education? Government Chief Whip, there are issues that have been raised. Can you? Yes, Sarah, before the government.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for reaching out to the public. And I'm glad that they have touched on issues that some of us have been able to raise on the floor. Right Honorable Speaker, education touches everybody. Health touches everybody. And Right Honorable Speaker, when we bring motions here and you refer a motion to a committee and it takes over 6 months for the committee to return, what exactly are we doing? I brought a motion here on school fees, which affects every person, Right Honorable Speaker. And I thought that when that report comes here, we would be able to discuss not just the issue of school fees, but the way forward. Because the Education Act is very clear and also states that government could actually impose a tax so that we have free quality education. But when the public is making a contribution in a pool, not the current system where people take their children to the Budos, the Gayazas, and you have to pay millions of shillings, Right Honorable Speaker. And yet government is also contributing to these private schools or government-aided schools. So Right Honorable Speaker, also regarding health, yesterday we were talking about police officers too who were killed. But Right Honorable Speaker, all lives matter. Look at the mothers dying in hospitals while giving birth. I brought here a petition on these maternal deaths. It has taken since March, by the way, the Women's Day, Right Honorable Speaker. It's over 6 months. You referred the matter to the Minister of Health. I thought she would come here with a statement so that we can debate this motion and see how to support her sector. Madam Speaker, you also referred a petition by one of the NGOs to me, but it's still on maternal health. That's why I couldn't bring it here. So Right Honorable Speaker, all lives matter. Can we discuss all these issues, but also put timelines to these committees that are sitting on these motions or reports or matters referred to them? There must be a limit. So Right Honorable Speaker, I want to request you to use your authority to demand for these reports to be brought here. And if the committees can't, then let us proceed and discuss these motions directly on the floor. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I've already said this is going to be, is it on the same? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for your communication. Thank you so much for having given the public a window to express their concerns. I would have loved to wait for the discussion. I would have loved to wait for the Honorable Minister to bring the bill relating to health. But I have a concern that has been bothering me for the last 2 weeks. I have 2 of my constituents that have been diagnosed with cancers that cannot be handled locally. And they have been referred to India, another one has been referred to Turkey. My concern, while I was trying to follow up these cases, I realized we have so many other cases of that nature in Mulago that cannot be handled by our local medical system, and they're just waiting for their fate because they do not have the resources to go to the medical facilities where they've been referred to. My question, I would seek clarification from the Minister of Health, who is here with us. What happens to Ugandans who have ailments that cannot be handled by our medical system, and they do not have the money to be referred or to go to the facilities where they have been referred in those developed countries. How are we supposed to handle such cases? And how can families be supported? Yes, if there is no law, how fast can we have a law in place to support such families? Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Government Chief Whip. Let him respond to what has been raised. Hi.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, I have picked two issues. One is on matters that are normally raised by members on the floor and require answers from the honorable ministers from different ministries. And the second issue is the issue of attendance by ministers. On issue number one, Right Honorable Speaker, the Office of the Leader of Government Business has always extracted all matters raised by the honorable members that require responses from individual ministries, and we have always circulated them to the ministers to respond. But I also know, just like Honorable Acheng Opende has just raised, that there are matters that are raised and they are referred to committees to be scrutinized and they report back. So I want to use the same opportunity to the honorable ministers to always comply and respond in time. On their question of attendance, Right Honorable Speaker, the Office of the Government Chief Whip has always religiously and promptly informed Cabinet through our forum. Just like when you left yesterday, by 5 p.m., the order paper for today was ready and was out. By 5:17, I posted on the forum. So we have always informed members of Cabinet. That is one. Secondly, when the order paper is out, the ministry or my office calls the individual minister who should come to respond to the matter on the order paper. Thirdly, there is a rota that we laid on the floor of Parliament. These are action areas where, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, we have always done our part. Yesterday, you had to adjourn Parliament because the Minister of Local Government was not here. But the Minister of State for Local Government was called by my office. At first, she indicated she was coming. Then toward the end, I think she was caught up country. She called back and indicated she could not make it. So we have always done all this, Madam Speaker. Maybe we will proceed to the last aspect of invoking the provisions of the rules to ensure that we comply with the provisions of the rules. So, Right Honorable Speaker, we have always done our part on those two issues. Thank you so much.
I actually expected an apology from you. I am not going to take this and say we have a rota. Am I the one we're supposed to follow? I'm not a government chief whip. I'm not a leader of government business. Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, I wish to take responsibility on behalf of Cabinet to extend our apology to your office, but also going forward, I want to put it on record that, honorable colleagues, we need to prioritize the business of Parliament. Parliament sits for only 3 days, and in the afternoon, every ministry, with the exception of very few ministries, have more than 2 ministers. It is only Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation with only 1 minister. So let's prioritize the business of Parliament. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Honorable Leader of Government Business, we are going to structure the order paper next week in a way that we capture what the public has asked us to look at. We mentioned them before you came, and we'll put it in the order paper, and we debate issues that are concerning the public that have been, we shall give you a copy of what has been talked about. Honorable members, I know we have matters of national importance. I will only take four for now, so that we hear about Ebola.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, during my interaction with the people of Buheju during the recess, I have come to realize that whereas learners in candidate classes started final exams and others are yet to start, primary reading examinations, UPE, starts on 8th, ends on 9th of this month. Of course, the senior 4 exams started October 17th and are ending November 18th. Senior 6 will be November around, and then up to 9th December. Right Honorable Speaker, what is disturbing is that some candidates were stopped from doing exams because they have not completed fees. Many candidates. I am perturbed that more other candidates will be stopped at P7 and senior 4. Somebody studies for 4 years and you're completing and you have a balance of 200,000 shillings and you cannot be allowed to do exams, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, this is disturbing, and my prayers are, 1, that the Ministry of Education directs that all candidates be permitted to sit exams, because it's unfair that one will study all these years, one will be denied exams because of fees arrears. But 2, second prayer, the Ministry of Education directs that all students and parents be tasked to clear their areas before they get to their results. I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Are we talking about government schools or private schools?
I am talking about both primary and government. I mean government and private.
Love, you own a school, tell us. Are you allowing people to sit? Leader of government, education is there.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues. I'm just coming from Salama School for Blind in Mukono district. This morning, we just handed over our learners who got banned from the fire outbreak that took place last week and handed the body to the relatives and the parents. Madam Speaker, at appropriate time, we will make statement on the floor concerning this matter. And we continue to pray for their souls to rest in eternal peace. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank my colleague for raising that very sensitive matter. It's really a matter of national importance. It's a topical issue. It's an issue that affects all of us, most especially when our learners have proceeded with the academic cycle in primary and secondary and are just at the age of completing the academic cycle. This matter was there, yes, that especially private schools tend to chase learners, telling them not to sit for exams because they have not completed the school fees. But Madam Speaker, we have issued a strong guideline informing parents, schools, administrators, no single learner should be sent home not to sit examination, especially P7 and senior 4, senior 6, because of school due. We offer guidance for the parents to sit together with the school administrators to plan modalities of how to complete that school balance, but the learners to go ahead and complete their academic cycle. It is really sad to hear that some schools still continue to send learners painfully home, not allow them to sit examination. Madam Speaker, I will take that up, most especially the forthcoming PLE. We will ensure that no learner will
Honorable
be,
Minister, there is some information here. Maybe you could take it.
I take it with your guidance.
Minister, the information I want to give is that the idea, the aspect of barring candidates from sitting exams is not limited to primary and secondary. It is also applicable in the universities. Somebody has done medicine for 5 years, is in their final year, they have not paid the semester fees, and they cannot sit exams. So as a ministry, as you look at the primary and secondary level, please try to consider universities and other tertiary institutions because it's actually happening. That's the information I have.
Thank you. Honorable Leader of Government Business, the guidelines that were given by the Minister of Health in regard to Ebola is that we should put on our masks the route. And for us, we love you so much, we don't want you to get infected. Yes, education.
I thank you, colleague, for that information. I take it up. And Madam Speaker, the main challenge has been technology has made everything a little bit simpler because once a child is registered, results are obtained online. And because of that, school administrators want school fees cleared before the children sit. But nevertheless, we've taken that up, and I want to pledge that we will really ensure, especially the forthcoming PLE and senior six, they will, all children will sit for the exam.
You have given him to give you information?
Yes. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. The clarification I was seeking from the Minister is about the private institutions. Unlike the government institutions, where government sends the grants and support even the preparation for examinations, for the case of private institutions, the parents have a social contract with the school administration of those private schools. Then these schools have a contract with UNEB for allowing those children sit examinations from those private institutions. And that's now the center number. Now there comes a student or a parent who registers in this school, enrolls and studies, reaches Form 4 or Form 6. The day the child registers for exams, of which the funds are remitted to UNEB, this child or the parent absconds from paying the fees, the school fees. And the child now resurrects during the UNEB examinations and says, this is my right, I must sit because I paid the UNEB fee. The clarification I'm now seeking, at that point, why should the private institutions raise funds which had a contract even with these parents pay fees? And for 2-3 years, they have never paid. And the examinations are very expensive for the case of the practicals. Where should this humble school raise the funds to now organize the examinations for that purpose? Maybe if you are saying UNEB should therefore now cater for the examinations as they send the advance information with all the logistics involved to prepare the examinations or government. But if it's a private school to do so, I don't know what your ministry is planning in light of that to support the private institutions is. In that respect, thank you.
Honorable members, all we want are our children to sit exams, irrespective whether they are in government schools or private schools. What contract you go with the private school owners is a responsibility of government and Ministry of Education. All students must sit exams irrespective of whether they have paid fees in the final year or not. You cannot waste your 7 years, your 4 years, all those years, you reach to exam time and you can't do exams. That is unfair. Remember, you're supposed to give us free education. These are things that should come in the order paper of quality education to be offered by government. So that is a settled matter. And we want you to lay on table the circular that you've given out, such that whoever does not comply to the circular will be held accountable. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Is it on my ruling?
They are present?
Is it on my ruling in law?
No.
I already made a ruling on education.
I wanted to seek your guidance on the same subject matter before you take leave of it.
I've already ruled, my brother. Thank you. It is on the same. Matter of what? I'll come for you. It is
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I raise on a matter of national importance regarding South Busoga Central Forest Reserve and the land titles that are being issued. Right Honorable Speaker, as a result of a very long dispute of land ownership between NFA and the local community in South Busoga Central Forest Reserve, that culminated into many deaths. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, on the 22nd day of October, year 2010, directed as follows: that the local community take land composed of 48 villages, that the 200 meters to be demarcated off for the conservation of the lake shores, that all settlers within the 200 meters lake shores conservation zone to vacate, and NFA to take land planted with trees under 18 villages, that is 6 villages for forestry plus 12 villages under forest cover. That the local community currently in the lake shore zone relocate to land covering 4 villages under NFA, thus leaving NFA with land composed of 14 villages. That they said would be secured through Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, to our disappointment as leaders, before these directives and before land is secured through Parliament as per the law established, mafias are working ahead of these directives and decisions that have gone ahead to secure land titles in a forest. Madam Speaker, this is being done with impunity because the honest people and the humble that have tried to wait for these directives to be implemented are there waiting, but there are people who have gone ahead to secure land titles working ahead of the implementation. My prayers, Right Honorable Speaker, that the minister responsible should immediately direct the cancellation of the titles that have been issued in the 48 villages of South Busoga Central Forest Reserve. 2, that the same should be investigated and culprits be brought to book. 3, the Ministry of Water and Environment should expedite the process of digitization, bearing in mind the time it has taken and the impact created the affected people in terms of development. I beg to submit, Right Honorable
Thank
Speaker.
you. Leader of Government Business.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, allow me to welcome you back from recess. Honorable Speaker, the matter before us is quite delicate, and I wanted to request for some time so that I come back either next week on Tuesday with a concrete answer, and I promise that the culprits will face it rough. So they are trying to, yes.
Thank you. Next week on Tuesday, we'll get a feedback. Motiwa? Brenda?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Of recent, the President gave a directive that public transport should be banned in the Ebola district. And you're aware that on Monday, the primary pupils will start sitting for PLE, and also USC and USCE accordingly. If students cannot access transport, realizing that in some rural schools, you find that centers are not near homesteads, some people have to move to different, like far areas to actually sit for their exams. And I think in your communication yesterday, you asked the minister to actually do something that will ease transport for students who will have to move to maybe far areas to sit for their exams, because examiners and teachers were cleared, but students were not cleared, and we are aware people are being beaten, especially those making movements using borders. So I envisage a situation whereby students are going to miss out, reach late, which is going to affect the whole situation. So that's my issue, and I want the Minister of Education to at least come out, or the Prime Minister, to inform us what they're doing about that, or to the measures they're taking to clear students so that they can actually be able to sit for exams. I thank you.
If I remember very well, that is one of the issues I said should be answered today after presentation on Ebola. At least my memory serves me well. What plans do you have for students who are sitting for exams but did not register in their own schools but registered in different centers? The fact that government has restricted government what? Public transport.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, public transport is only restricted within the districts of Mubende and Kasanda, and not any other district. The schools and the Minister of Education will speak to this.
Doctor, for clarity, we are also talking about the same districts.
Yeah, Right Honorable Speaker. Actually, senior fours started their exams on the day that His Excellency issued the directive to restrict movement. And to date, they are doing exams. We have not experienced any challenge. Since then, I have gone to the district 5 times, both the district of Kasanda and Mubende. The Ministry of Health deployed vans and buses to support the teachers and the pupils or the learners to reach their schools. And they have been using this transport in both districts. If there are any students registered outside of Mubende and Kasanda, the Ministry of Education will reach out to us and we shall find a way. Right now, we have not heard of such cases. I thank you.
Thank you so much. kindly ensure that all those students do exams in those districts and facilitate them as the Minister of Health and Education and leader of government business. Mutiwa?
Thanks very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I raise on a matter of urgent attention regarding an upsurge of malaria cases in Butaleja district and many parts of Bukit sub-region. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, malaria is claiming lives of many people on daily basis in my district of Butaleja, and in my constituency of Bunyore West, we are losing 7 to 13 people on a daily basis. And the most affected are children aged between 5 and 15 years. My prayers are that the ministry should send a team of experts to do research and assess the situation, that the Minister of Health should increase on the supply of anti-malarials in the area, and also that the ministry and government should distribute mosquito nets in the district as a measure of controlling malaria currently. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mutua. Members, I want to request you, in such circumstances where there is a killer disease, where there is a big problem like that, I don't think you should wait for the House. These ministers' numbers are there. Dr. Cheng, you can call her anytime. Even Majegere doesn't pick. Honorable members, where you have a problem like that, at least I pick my phone. Don't I pick? I pick my phone and I'll look for the minister. But that does not stop the minister from responding. Goretti, I know your personal issues with the Kasolo. Doctor.
Right Honorable Speaker, it is not the first time that issue is being raised on this floor, and we have responded several times. However, allow me to request my colleague there to come and give a response this time.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and the honorable colleague for raising this issue, and also my honorable senior colleague. The honorable member from Butaleja is right. In our statistics here, Butaleja has the highest number of malaria cases, but the deaths is reporting are higher than what we have, and less people are dying in homes. But for those who die in health centers, we always record them. And since this year started, remember in May, we raised the red flag over the upsurge of malaria in many districts. It has come down though from 65% to about 30%. And also the places which are really badly hit is Bukedi, Teso, Lango, Soga, Karamoja, Acholi. Those are experiencing upsurge. Previously, when we raised the red flag, it was in Western Uganda, especially Angola and Toro. Right now, we have had Budaka, Busia, Butaleja, Butevo, Kibuku, Palisa, and Tororo, but Butaleja rising the highest number of cases. Nonetheless, the National Medical Stores has been going around giving out mosquito nets, and also the ministry's information on health. They've been putting a lot, together with partners, we've been putting a lot of adverts for people to sleep in mosquito nets, to close their houses a little early, so that we can together fight this malaria, and also to control water clogging near homes where the mosquitoes breed from. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. What the Honorable Member is asking, he's asking for the anti-malarials, the mosquito nets, to be provided in the district.
Yes, Right Honorable. His requests are okay. At the beginning of this year, we distributed nets in his district, and we have increased the supply of anti-malarials. We shall again interact with the district to understand whether what we are providing is not adequate. He also asked for scientists. The research in your district started 2 months ago, but research takes time. We shall provide you with information as soon as the scientists are done. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Simbwa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Issue escalating prices of sugar and falling prices of sugar cane in my constituency and the entire country. Right, Honorable Speaker, I stand to raise the interest of Parliament on the first escalating prices of sugar over the last 4 months. Right, Honorable Speaker, earlier in May, a 50 kg bag of sugar was costing at 150 before escalating 165,000 in June. As we speak now, Right Honorable Speaker, the price of sugar has shot up 4 times in September and October from 185,000 to 195,000 in only 9 days. Then from 215,000 to 217,000 in less than a week. As you are aware, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, my constituency, Nachifuma, is a sugarcane growing area. However, the farm gate price of sugarcane at the farmers has instead been falling instantly from 180 a ton down to 130 and 990,000 in some areas. Besides that, Honorable Speaker, the above prices which I'm talking about, it's a factory price. But if you move around town, some places like Chikubo, a bag of sugar, the 50 kg, is about 230 to 240,000 a bag. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I seek an explanation from the Minister of Trade, Cooperatives, and on the current sugar situation. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Simba. Honorable Minister for Trade.
Thank you so much. Right, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank my colleague for raising this issue. And I want to thank him also because, right, Speaker, sugar as an industry is one of the fast growing industries in the economy. And I want to inform Parliament that in the manufacturing industry, it has contributed a lot. Before I went direct to the question, I was seeking, since he has said that I give a little explanation, the industry has contributed around Uganda shillings 300 billion in taxes alone. And right, Speaker, I want to inform the House that the sugar industry has employed more than 60,000 people in our young people into employment. And it has also, through the byproduct of bagasse, contributed around 150 megawatts of electricity, of which 70 go to the mega grid.
Honorable Minister, the member is asking for the prices that have raised up. And remember, when you pay those high prices, that is what is contributing to the taxes. The taxes are high at the expense of the local people. That is what is happening.
Okay. Let me go direct to the answer. But I thought, right, Speaker, this information is important for such a house. Now, first of all, with the background.
By the way, we are not such a house, we are an August house.
Okay, an August house. Right, Speaker, thank you so much. Right, Honorable Speaker, the issue of rising prices of sugar is a very, very serious matter because, first of all, in the last months, in the last 2 years, we had a lot of production of cane. And the production of cane was the cry of the people of those areas where sugarcane is produced. So we had a lot of now upcoming factories, and they consumed the cane.
Procedure matter from the.
Thank you. Thank you very.
Honorable Minister, what I expected of you is to tell us what government is going to do in order to stabilize the cost of sugar.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The way the Honorable Minister is presenting to us seems to lack some information. Isn't it procedure okay if you allow her time to go and consult the technocrats so that she can feed us on what we can digest? Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, we have a very able committee of trade and tourism. Can I have the committee of trade and tourism handle this matter and report back to the House? Next item.
Most obliged, right, Speaker.
Next
Item number 3. Item number 3, statement by Minister on the progress in combating the Ebola outbreak in the country.
Honorable members, some order. Honorable members, this statement was scheduled to be presented yesterday. However, the Senior Minister of Health requested that it should be deferred to today since she was in the field in Mubende. And you'll recall on the onset of Ebola, she has become a resident of Mubende, and she gives us regular updates on what is happening on Ebola. But most especially also, we must also thank the President because he has also been giving us updates and addressing the country on Ebola. I now invite the Minister. I invite the Minister of Health to give us an update accordingly. However, before you give us an update, today I also have very important visitors in the House, in the public gallery. I have the council members, district executive council members of Bukedea district. We have Honorable Akol Mary, the Vice Chairperson LC5. Welcome, Mary. We have Mr. Emong Shawan Juma, the Speaker of Bukedea. And then we have Madam Tino Helen Grace, the Secretary for Production. You're most welcome. And represented by Honorable Ikojo John Bosco, and none other than the Speaker. You're most welcome. And thank you for voting for the Speaker and the Member of Parliament, Honorable Ikoja Anishagi. And they should come back and oppose again. Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues. Allow me update this August House on the current Ebola virus disease outbreak in the country and the containment measures taken by the Ministry of Health so far. On the 20th
Has the report been uploaded? Is the report uploaded?
On the 20th of September, 2022, the
Yes,
Ministry
there's
of
an
Health
order here.
declared an outbreak of Ebola Sudan virus.
There's an order here.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, yesterday we had the Minister of State here, and she rightly stated here, and you granted it, that she was waiting for the full minister to come and read a statement. But what we are seeing now, our suspect that was here yesterday, as usual here, is reading the statement in front of the senior minister. So, has she got permission now? So, did she tell us like yesterday?
Members, okay, raise your order.
So, is the Honorable Minister of State in order to confuse this House by informing us that the senior minister was coming to the statement, yet she had the ability of doing the same yesterday? Is she in order?
Honorable Minister, Honorable Omusomesa, Omukatuli. You know, I know you went to the law school of recent, and there's an aspect of delegation. What the minister, senior minister is doing is delegating. And we must make the young ministers grow. We must make the young ministers grow so that we stop complaining that the ministers are not in the house. No, she said, by the way, I'm the chair of the house. And the minister told me that let her junior minister read the statement. She's here to respond to all your questions. So, junior minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for your right and timely ruling. I actually said that we were collecting data and our technical teams were in Kasanda yesterday to pick information that we needed, and that's why we are bringing this today. And secondly, this lies in my docket of primary health care, and so we have made no mistake. The outbreak then, on the 20th of September 2022, the Ministry of Health declared an outbreak of Ebola Sudan virus in the district of Mubende. The outbreak then spread, and now it's in 4 districts of Kasanda, Kagadi, Bunyangavu, and Chegegwa, within a period of 2 weeks. Subsequently, due to the movement of the contacts and symptomatic individuals for health services, the outbreak spread to Wakiso district and Kampala district, or Kampala city, bringing the total of affected authorities to 7. All the affected local authorities had been categorized as very high risk or high risk based on the assessments done by the Ministry of Health. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to give the status of the outbreak. Honorable colleagues, it is 43 days today since the declaration of the Ebola virus outbreak, and the total number of confirmed cases stand at 130, of whom 43 have succumbed to the disease, and 45 have been treated and have improved, while 40 are still undergoing treatment. The table, which you have already uploaded to you, will give you the statistics from Bunyangabo to Kagadi to Kampala, and also giving the sub-counties that were affected and the number of people who are in those districts. Kasanda and Mubende still remain the epicenter. And now we have a new district of Wakiso, where it is in Busiro and Nansana, as you can see in that table. Among the confirmed cases, these have also been health workers. There have also been health workers among confirmed cases, and to date, 15 health workers have been infected, of whom 6 have succumbed to the deadly infection. May their souls rest in eternal peace. And out of the 15, the 6 were from the private facilities and 9 are from public health sector. This includes the team of medical students who got infected in Mubende Regional Referral Hospital. We have noted that most of the cases tend to visit several private clinics for care before finally going to public facilities. And this exposes the health workers to infection. We have been engaging and appealing to all health workers, public and private, to use appropriate protective gear when in facilities attending to patients. We do every Tuesday morning programs to inform these our people. Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, we've been mobilizing resources to respond to this outbreak. To guide the response to the outbreak, a 3-month response plan costing Uganda shillings 75 billion was developed, presented to Cabinet, and submitted to the Ministry of Finance for funding. To date, we have not received any response. Several partners have mobilized the resources, but they are yet to be formally communicated to the Ministry of Health how each has been mobilizing. The partners, however, have been supporting several interventions on the ground, including surveillance, contact tracing, risk communication, case management, transport, and safe burials. We are organizing an accountability forum, and we expect all partners to declare the resources mobilized towards the epidemic. However, to urgently support the affected districts carry out response activities, the Ministry of Health, through internal reorganization of resources, disbursed 2.1 billion, 2.12 billion to the districts, as you will see below in the table. Mubende 500 million, Kegegwa 305, Kasanda 305, Kagadi, Bunyangabo all 305, and Mubende Regional Referral Hospital 400 million. All the above districts access to the funds and are carrying out interventions and paying their health workers, except Kasanda, where the leadership and the entire health system is a little weak. But the efforts are being made to strengthen the response in Kasanda district by recruiting health workers in contract to support the district, deploy response teams, and all that is required. We also want to construct an Ebola treatment unit in Kasanda. We, however, request more support from you honorable members, and especially members from the district of Kasanda. The Ebola treatment facilities, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, government and partners have set up 3 Ebola treatment facilities in Mubende district, a 42-bed capacity treatment facility at the regional referral hospital, another 42-bed capacity Ebola treatment facility at the district's works grounds. The 3rd treatment facility is at the original outbreak, the epicenter in Madudu, and an 8-bed capacity facility that is cushioning the main facility at the retention center for suspected cases under surveillance and investigation. In Kampala metropolitan area, we have 2 permanent treatment facilities in Mulago National Referral Hospital and the one in Entebbe municipality. Mulago Ebola treatment facility is an 120-bed facility that is co-located but separate from Mulago National Referral Hospital. This facility is currently housing the 22 quarantined contacts from Kampala and Wakiso. They will be evaluated this week to create room for admission of both suspected and confirmed cases. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the 2nd Ebola treatment facility in Entebbe, National and Isolation Center, it's a 67-bed capacity with 8 ICU beds. This is where all the current Kampala metropolitan confirmed cases are being managed from. The Ministry of Health, with support from partners, is setting up an additional treatment facility in Mulago Sports Field. This 64-bed capacity will be built in 2 phases over a period of 4 weeks. With the completion of this facility, the ministry will have 351 beds available for treatment of confirmed cases. Furthermore, open spaces have been identified to set up more tents should the need arise. Treatment for Sudan Ebola virus. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, there is no known treatment for this Sudan Ebola virus disease. Currently, there are a number of promising treatment options that the ministry is using under trial, including monoclonal antibodies and repurposed drugs like remdesivir donated by the US government. However, the doses available are still very few. So far, 13 patients have received these trial drugs with relatively good outcomes. 4 patients admitted in critical conditions succumbed to death, though, emphasizing the importance of early reporting and hence treatment. Another request has been submitted to the USA government for more of the trial drugs. The ministry will evaluate the efficacy of 3 candidate Ebola Sudan vaccines on contacts in the coming weeks. The candidate vaccines are Oxford from the United Kingdom, Sabine from the USA, and Merck also from the USA. The main objective is to evaluate their efficacy to protect primary contacts of Ebola patients within 29 days of contact. We plan to vaccinate contacts of 150 confirmed cases. Those make 3,000 people initially. The trial preparation has been done, concluded, and we estimate that we may begin the trial in the next 2 weeks. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, despite the presence of this promising treatment modalities, the mainstay of control for Ebola Sudan virus are early detection of the infection, individuals and their contacts, and immediately isolate these contacts. If we can do that, then we can reduce the numbers. Then early treatment, the moment you feel any symptoms, please go for treatment. We are banking on you, honorable members, because when you speak, your people listen. Early treatment, as we have seen in the 45 recovered individuals, is associated with a good outcome. For most of the individuals that have died, time was lost running one clinic to another, including shrines of witch doctors. The population understanding the signs and symptoms of Ebola virus disease and avoiding exposure to it, especially the contacts with sick persons, body fluid, vomit, stool, feces, blood, saliva, sweat, urine. All these can infect you if you are in close contact with the patient. This exposure may be through direct handling or deliberate or incidental or even accidental of linen, surfaces, cleaning, sharing of lavatories, beddings, or through handshaking, hugging, or caring for a confirmed case. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I would like to inform this House and the entire population that the symptoms of Ebola in the early phases are similar and consistent with most common febrile illnesses like malaria, where the clinical cause of the disease begins with high-grade fever, headache, sore throat, abdominal pain, in the upper abdomen especially, fatigue, general body weakness, intractable vomiting and diarrhea, plus bleeding manifestations may not be an early presentation. So if you feel some fever, please don't stay at home because you can be helped. This emphasizes the aspect of seek care early if you have had contact with anybody who has Ebola. The outbreak, right Honorable Speaker and members, the epicenter remains Mubende and Kasanda, specifically. In the Mubende district, the most affected sub-counties are Madudu, Kiruma, and East Division of Mubende municipality. While in Kasanda, the sub-counties of Chikandwa and Kirwana are the most affected. At the beginning of the outbreak, the epidemic spread to the 3 districts of Bunyangavu, Kagadi, and Kyegego. 2 districts have completed the 21 days of contact follow-up, and the individuals have been retired from the contact list. They are back home and they don't have the Ebola virus. Since there has been no secondary transmission, we believe transmission may have been interrupted. However, intensified surveillance continues in these districts for another 21 days to complete the 42 days cycle before they can be cleared. A new case appeared in Kyegegwa late last week, so we have restarted the countdown afresh. To stop further exportation of cases into other parts of the country, His Excellency, the President of Uganda, directed the restricting of movements into and out of the districts of Mubende and Kasanda. However, Internal movement is allowed, and transit vehicles are free to cross through. To other districts, like if you're going to Kakumiro, Kabarole, Fort Portal, you can cross through but not stop anywhere in Mubende. Right, Honorable Speaker, the President's directive of restricted movement was based on optimizing control effects in the same geographical area and minimizing spread to other areas. The penetration of Ebola in heavily populated areas creates a situation of rapid spread and is associated with sustained and protracted person-to-person transmission. Urban Ebola transmission is complex, and government will do all it takes to ensure control of transmission in the urban settings, especially Kampala metropolitan area, which includes Wakiso. To illustrate the extent of the spread in urban transmission, a single case can quickly set up several transmission lines in a very short time, as shown in these graphics. I think you can see the graphics, where just one person in this congested city can spread Ebola to very many other people. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, this is an example of a rapid spread of infection by the case that came from Kasanda to Molago and later died in Nansan. After running away from hospital, he is responsible for infecting the family of 7, including neighbors and many others. We were able to get this cluster plus one other because of the ministry's vigilance in contact tracing and field case investigation. As a result of this, 6 of the infected family members are learners. These learners attended 3 schools in Rubaga division. We have listed 170 contacts from these schools that we are following up. All the schools in Kampala metropolitan area have been supported with temperature guns, jig, and chlorine solution. Teachers, non-teaching staff, and parents are being sensitized to ensure a safe learning environment. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, to ensure this rapid spread does not happen, all contacts in Kampala will be quarantined at government cost and designated places for 21 days to limit further spread through secondary transmission. I appeal to all of you to sensitize and encourage all Ugandans to understand and appreciate the rationale behind this and cooperate to ensure that we bring this outbreak to a speedy end so that we return to our normal ways of life. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, in the 2 districts of Mubende and Kasanda, the Ministry of Health is carrying out the following interventions. Intense risk communication to sensitize the communities about Ebola virus disease, its causes, presentation, and prevention. All barriers in the community, whether they died of Ebola or not, are carried out in a safe, dignified barrier team with our teams. Samples from all dead bodies are removed and tested to rule out death from Ebola. Surveillance and contact tracing for all listed contacts aiming at 100% follow-up. Number 4, surveillance in schools. All schools in Mubende and Kasanda district have been provided with 3 temperature guns each to monitor temperature of learners, teachers, and support staff. Parents have been counseled not to send sick children to school, and teachers have been advised to report any absenteeism immediately for investigation. Treatment of confirmed cases and psychosocial counseling. The people who have had COVID in their homes need psychosocial counseling in order for them to settle their minds. There is also an ecological surveillance that has been concluded with 189 bats caught in Madudu and Kiruma sub-counties. Over 320 samples have already been extracted for testing to ascertain the actual cause and origin of this Ebola Sudan virus in Mubende. Right Honorable Speaker and members, laboratory testing, the ministry has deployed its first ever mobile Ebola laboratory in Mubende at our regional referral hospital. And this is part of the 2 mobile PCR laboratory procured by the East African Community Secretariat under directives of heads of state of the East African Community countries. The laboratory is currently handling all the samples from Mubende and Kasanda district. Plans are underway to deploy a mobile laboratory in Kasanda Ebola treatment unit after construction, and in Mulago Ebola treatment unit should the need arise. The Uganda Virus Research Institute Laboratory, UVRI, in Entebbe continues to handle all other samples from the rest of the country. Right Honorable Speaker and members, these are the challenges that we face in the fight against Ebola. We have encountered a number of challenges that are currently affecting our response. Inadequate funding. Since the declaration of the Ebola outbreak, no funding has been provided to support the ministry in the response. In spite of a clear response plan, and this is affecting the speed of the response. Partners usually inquire about government input before they declare their resources. Furthermore, we are seeing partners declaring resources mobilized on social media, which resources we do not have information about. Hence the need for the Ministry of Finance to make a follow-up. Inadequate human resource for surveillance and treatment. Our structure has not yet been expanded to include epidemiologists. And yet this cadre is highly required for purposes of mapping out high-risk areas and follow-up of contacts. In addition, Madam Speaker, a large number of health workers are required in the Ebola treatment unit, as one can only wear the PPE for a maximum of 45 minutes and needs to exit. The ETUs, therefore, require a set of 3 highly trained groups to keep changing and give time to rest. The third one, politicizing of the epidemic. Some politicians, including in this August House, are also confusing the public. That there is no Ebola, to quote from one politician, that there is no Ebola epidemic in this country, and this is government propaganda of mobilizing resources.
Honorable Minister, I will want the name of the person who said that. We need to name and shame these people who say that there is no Ebola, and these are people who are encouraging our people to go to witch doctors. I want
the
it on the
extract has
microphone.
been laid on table, Right Honorable Speaker, by the Minister.
This is not a table, lay it on that table. Read the statement, read the name and lay on table. Read the name.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Health noted a quote from a talk show of a political leader called Abubakar Kawalia, Honorable Member for Ruaga North, on CBS 1st September 2022. Here,
Honorable members,
he said, I lay on table.
we'll need evidence to that effect. And if it is true, we'll refer the member to a disciplinary committee.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. We have also noted, we do not believe that health workers would sacrifice their lives to treat Ebola infected person just for money and put their lives in danger and those of their families. This kind of attitude and negative talk is very discouraging and may lead to an explosion of cases where we have made progress. However, we would like to thank all the members of parliament from Mubende, Kasanda, Kampala metropolitan area who have been with us on the ground, sensitizing the communities and sending encouraging messages of support and the response. Lack of cooperation by the public due to the negative talk, myths, and misconceptions. We also note there is a lot of misconception and myths about Ebola. Many of our communities are yet to understand the dangers posed by an Ebola epidemic, and that it can devastate economies and kill an entire village. The negative propaganda and politicizing of the epidemic makes communities undertake dangerous activities. For example, running away to other districts to avoid being isolated. And in so doing, they run away with the infection, spread it to their loved ones, and spread it to other districts, and other people get involved in the end, and end up dying, yet they could have been saved. The exhuming of a body in Kikandwa sub-county, Kasanda district, which has led to death of 6 other people from that cluster. This could have been avoided. But there was a Muslim community who said they cannot bury their person without washing the body. They exhumed the body and washed it, and 6 more people died. Spreading of the epidemic to other districts. This stretches the health sector workforce. It causes fatigue and in the end death, and is very expensive to control. In conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the Ministry of Health appeals to Ugandans to cooperate with the surveillance teams, the contact tracers, the VHTs, and health workers. If you have signs and symptoms of the EVD, the Ebola virus disease, please report to the nearest public health facility. If you or your loved one has had contact with an Ebola infected person, please inform the contact tracers and remain in isolation for at least 21 days while cooperating with the surveillance teams during this period of follow-up. Running away and hiding exposes you and your loved one to infection, potentially resulting into death that could have been avoided. The ministry continues to carry out risk communication to the public. We have had a number of community sensitization meetings in highly affected districts of Kasanda, in the Muvende, and with schools in affected districts. We have also held high-level meetings with the district city task forces of Muvende, Kasanda, and Kampala metropolitan area a number of times. We have also engaged local and political leaders in Muvende and Kasanda and Kampala metropolitan area. And I would like to thank the members of parliament from these districts who actually were at the ministry last week for the meeting, and we shared a lot of information with them. Honorable Shave, who wasn't there physically, was at least on Zoom and gave us a lot of insight. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, allow me to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and all the honorable members for the support that you have always given to this health sector. Your support has enabled the sector build systems over time to respond to epidemics and also provide quality service to the people of Uganda. I'm also glad that even the international media, especially BBC, has been reporting very well about Uganda and praising Uganda for fighting Ebola, and that they trust we shall end it. We continue to appeal to all of you to support the response of Ebola epidemic. The people in your constituencies listen to you, and your voices may help bring this epidemic to an end. I thank you for your kind attention. I beg to submit, Madam.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister of Health. And the report is informative. The report is informing you of what is happening, about the SOPs that we are supposed to follow. As I said yesterday, that the ministry gave us the SOPs that we should follow as this house. We should be able to put on our masks throughout. We should not allow visitors in the premise of Parliament without checking them. Or we should have the temperature guns to check the temperature of everyone. The field visits, and I want you to be attentive on this. The field visits by committees to areas with Ebola must stop. And I'm saying not suspended, but must stop for now. Members from those areas under the lockdown are advised to desist from public outreaches in their constituencies. We know you want to do politics, but for now, you should not do it to avoid getting in contact with people who have Ebola. And as Parliament, we have issued out the SOPs that should be followed. In the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation from Uganda Human Rights Commission. We have Mr. Crispin Kahero. You're most welcome. He's a member of the commission. We have Ms. Ruth Sekindi. She's the Director of Monitoring and Inspection. Welcome. We have Ms. Priscilla, a Senior Human Resource Officer. Welcome. They are here to observe our proceedings. Honorable Minister, yesterday while you were away, there was an issue that was raised by Honorable Asuman, who is a colleague to the President. Can you just Honorable Asuman had raised an issue that needs clarification.
Thank you, Veteran Speaker. Veteran Speaker, the issue I raised yesterday, and the minister was here, I saw her taking note the Honorable Margaret, relates to the legal framework under which the lockdown and rules are being made in Kasanda and other affected areas. You remember Minister Ruth in the 10th Parliament, when we had COVID, you issued several statutory instruments to guide the country on a wide range of issues. And now we have Ebola. Pronouncements are being made, and we don't have any statutory instrument on record. So we had requested that the way you did with COVID, you table before this House the statutory instruments on Ebola, because you need to guide the police in executing its work. When people are arrested, they must be arrested under some law, and they must be charged under some law. And I'll give you an example. During COVID, the regulations you issued under statutory instrument, they were gazetted. If, for example, you were found operating a bar and you are convicted, you'd be sentenced to 2 months imprisonment. But prior to that, there was a very big challenge. So we ask that you present that document before this House for our information. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, the statement has provided good information on the status of Ebola in the country, and I want to appreciate you for that, save for that aspect. I thank you.
Thank you. Members, I have said it is informative. I am not going to allow debate. I'm only going to allow one person, Honorable Shabe, who is on Zoom.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Shabe, go ahead. Honorable Shabe.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I don't know whether I'm heard well.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. I am in the Pan-African Parliament, which is in session, but this matter of Ebola, I had to create time so that I participate in it. So thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for creating time for me. And I'm so glad about that. I want to begin by thanking the Minister for the statement as presented, and generally to thank the Ministry of Health for the right response towards the Ebola situation, not only in Mubende, but also in Kasanda. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to begin by saying that whoever does not believe that Ebola is there, my hometown, if there is any member of parliament who doesn't believe, I want to inform you that my hometown, Chikandwa, where I come from, we have so far lost 13 people in 1 week, just 1 week. You can imagine. The entire town is deserted. People have chosen to run away from the town because that is the current situation. So, honorable members, that is the beginning point. If there is anyone who doesn't believe that Ebola exists, Ebola is there, and our people are dying every day. At least we are recording some people from Chikandwa who are dying. Chikandwa is in Kasanda North. Having said that, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to begin by thanking the Ministry of Health for they began these messages and people took it lightly. I also want to thank our people, the team, the Ugandans on the front line of Ebola. Right Honorable Speaker, Ebola is a deadly disease. Even many health workers fear the disease. But we want to thank them, the security personnel, and other government agencies who are doing whatever they can, including development partners who are doing a lot of support currently in the country. I want to thank specifically Dr. Ruth Acheng, the Minister of Health. Honestly, she has been coming to Kasanda and meeting people herself. While I am away, I have been knowing and following up on matters of Ebola on a daily basis. I know who is hospitalized. I know who is who has been affected, who has held which meeting. So I am glad and I'm happy to thank her for, despite the fact that the disease is so deadly, everyone is fearing it. She comes with her team to the ground. Having said that, I needed some clarifications, Right Honorable Speaker. I have noted that in the statistics they give, they indicate Chikandwa and Karwana as different sub-counties. In all ministry statistics, I want to take this time, there is no sub-county in Kasanda called Chikandwa. Chikandwa is a parish in Karwana sub-county. I also noted that in your statistics, you indicate that we have a sub-county called Gombe in Kasanda sub-district. We do not have a sub-county called Gombe. Please take note of that. I've been following up on how you've been reporting. We have only one sub-county in Karwana, Right Honorable Speaker, that is affected by the Ebola virus. And in that sub-county, there is only one parish called Chikandwa that is having, it is affected currently with the people and the contacts they have. So I needed to clear that out. The next thing that I needed the minister to clarify is the issue of the leaders. As it is stated in the statement, I think it was unfair to say that the leaders in Kasanda are weak. We, despite the fact that I am not on ground, despite the fact that the leadership in Kasanda are much willing, they are much willing to participate, they are much willing to make a contribution that they have, but they have been excluded in the process of managing the Ebola. So that statement is not really right to say that the leaders in Kasanda are weak. We could have probably, if the ministry said that they have a weak, healthy technical team, that I can agree, but it is not true that the leaders in Kasanda are weak. That being noted, Right Honorable Speaker, I also need clarification on the money. Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at how the money that first came was distributed, you will notice that despite the fact that the two districts are on lockdown, Mubende and Kasanda, but they gave out money to even those districts which are not under lockdown equally. How can Kasanda get the same amount of money like Kagadi, which is not under lockdown? That is, I need a clarification, the justification why the ministry chose to give out money and give the same amount of money to a district under lockdown and district not under lockdown. Then the other issue, Mubende district has 10 sub-counties. Mubende district has 10 sub-counties. Kasanda has 15 sub-counties. When you look at the money that you have indicated that you've given out, you give Mubende 500 millions and you give Kasanda 300 millions. Even in food. So I need a clarification, and I've seen the Prime Minister is around. She can also clarify why Mubende with fewer sub-counties is given much more, even in terms of food, than Kasanda. So I needed the Prime Minister, probably if she's around, to clarify why that is the case. Right Honorable Speaker, having said that,
I hope this lastly.
Right Honorable Speaker, I am begging the Ministry of Health to handle these issues as I'm going to highlight, Right Honorable Speaker. One, we have a problem with the communication. The ministry does not communicate to us we do not know on a day-to-day, on a daily basis, what is going on. And I am pleading, the communication channels must be right, so that as a member of parliament, when I know what has transpired today, I will communicate to the sub-county leaders and everyone. I will give an example. An honorable minister, I reached out to the PS when they were saying that there is no treatment, there is no proper treatment in Mubende. Until I spoke and I told the people that you people, it is not true. Because even me myself, I believed them to say that there is no treatment. But when we made cross correspondences, we found out that there is proper treatment, there is proper feeding, and we informed our people, and that helps out in getting out in control. So can we create a proper communication channel where we have all the leaders? Because for us leaders, our job is to communicate and tell our people, because they know us, they believe in us. So that one is very, very important. The other thing, Right Honorable Speaker, Chikandwa Parish, I am pleading with the minister. The schools in Chikandwa Parish should be closed because the children from affected families go in the same classrooms with children who are not affected. So it is we've informed this to the minister. The minister is like, it is not necessary, but I am pleading. Chikandwa Parish, we can only leave the candidates, but the other classes, they should go home. Let the parents protect their children from home, because the situation is out of hand at the moment. We also have the issue of trucks, which you have left to move from Chikandwa, and those the trucks they move they move timber to Kampala and elsewhere. I do not know how you're going to address that. It is really necessary that they can be stopped so that they don't spread the disease elsewhere. Right, Honorable Speaker, like I have said, it is only one parish in the entire Kasanda sub-county.
Can you conclude?
Yes, I'm concluding, Right, Honorable Speaker. I'm concluding. If it is only one sub-county, Right, Honorable Speaker, why can't we reconsider? And the lockdown goes only in that one sub-county or neighboring sub-counties, and the rest of the district is left out of the lockdown. Now, because at the moment, after these almost 20 days, we know where the problem is, and even their statistics shows where the problem is. Can't we lock down those specific sub-county? That's my home sub-county, where I come from, Karwana sub-county. Can't it be locked down so that all the resources are concentrated on that in terms of security, in terms of medical treatment, and the rest of the district is left? Because honestly, Right Honorable Speaker, the challenge there is, the people who say they've not seen a dead person of Ebola are outside that sub-county. They are not from Karwana. The people who do not know that the disease is real within Kasanda are outside. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I think it would be proper. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I am praying to the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Robina Nabanja. Right Honorable Prime Minister, my prayer is this is not the time to play the politics of opposition and NRM. We know we are opposition in Kasanda, but we are praying to you. Please kindly let us concentrate on the disease. We shall do the politics later on when this is done. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, first thing first, they asked for a statutory instrument. And as I said, this document is informative. I have very, very many things on the order paper that are time-bound. I have the bills that were returned that must go through today without fail, and today being the deadline. So can you just answer what has been raised? On the issue of Honorable Nabanja, I think they just like the name. They just like the name. And of course, when you see Honorable Nava in an area, you know she's NRM. She does her NRM politics. So what do you expect?
Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the issue of Ebola is a pertinent issue. And we all want to support our people to go out of this safely without many people dead. The district of Mubende has 19 sub-counties and a municipal council. The district of Kasanda has 15 sub-counties with 2 town councils. And the targeted population to be helped as guided by the president are the border cyclists. Those people who were selling the side, all the roadside market vendors, and those other people were affected. First of all, the problem came from Mubende. So we were guided by a technical assessment team that went on site and gave us how to distribute the food. We followed a technical assessment team that guided our actions. That's all I can tell you. Thank you so much.
Yes, Honorable Minister, can you summarize?
Yes, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, allow me to start by allaying anxiety of the colleague of His Excellency, the President, that I issued a statutory instrument which was gazetted. And it will be laid on table like you requested by Honorable Margaret Muhanga tomorrow. I did. Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Nsam.
Honorable Asumani Basali of Bugiri Municipality. The instrument is available, it is gazetted, it will be laid on table tomorrow, Thursday.
Thank you. Now, I will just summarize the issues raised by Honorable Nsamba. Right Honorable Speaker, when I talked about weak leadership in Kasanda, I beg that you allow me to maintain that statement, and I will clarify. In my 5 trips to Kasanda, I only met the chairman of the district yesterday, finally. In all my trips, I only met...
But Honorable Minister, before you go far, when we talk about leadership, leadership starts from an LOC1. If the minister is not able to meet even an LOC1, then are we not weak? Then you're weak.
Thank you. So I'm not going to explain any further. I am glad that they have started coming one by one to support the response, and I do appreciate. The reason why Mubende has to receive more money than Kasanda is one, because Mubende had strong health systems and a strong leadership. Mubende is currently handling all the issues of Kasanda, including treating the patients of Kasanda, mobilizing them and taking them to Kasanda. So definitely Mubende needs more resources. But as soon as we set up an ETU in Kasanda and we strengthen the system, then Kasanda will start handling its own issues. Right Honorable, I take note of the schools, but personally, I engage the communities in Chikandwa Parish, and I thank Honorable for correcting me. I am not a native of there. So if I make a mistake about the names of parishes and sub-counties, I beg to be forgiven. I'm learning. And the more I go, the more I learn. But we have engaged the schools, the parents, and the communities. Right Honorable, we lost 2 years in the Ebola epidemic. We cannot afford to allow the communities in Kastanda to lose another year. So we are working out all modalities to ensure that the pupils or the learners study in a safe environment. We have provided gun thermometers, infection prevention. We have sensitized them. Ministry of Education is on the ground. And we want to ensure that they finish exams and exit.
You
as
said
safely
you have
as possible.
provided a gun temperature,
Yes.
but the member of parliament of Wakiso says Kampala has not received.
Kampala, distribution is still ongoing. We started last week. You have 1,500 schools. How do I reach all of them in a few minutes? The distribution is ongoing.
Right, Honorable, when we are to have in answered a report that all schools of Kampala Metropolitan have been provided with guns, it's a misleading statement, right, Honorable Speaker? So it's better as per now, you put it the way you put it.
That all the schools in Kampala are being provided.
Have been provided and distribution is ongoing. That's what the statement
That is
says.
what is on the answer now. It's okay.
Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of only locking Chikandwa and leaving the other areas. I want to inform the honorable member that many of the contacts in Chikandwa run away to other sub-counties. So if we ignore the other sub-counties, Ebola will explode from there. So we need to be allowed to operate in the entire district. I thank you and thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, members. Hello?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The clarification I would like to seek from the minister pertains to the evaluation that they are conducting on the efficacy of the vaccines. The vaccines from Oxford, UK, the other ones from USA.
You mean you can't speak with the mask?
And I have complications.
Please cover your mouth. No, put on a mask, look.
Thank you. Madam Minister, the trial preparations that you are conducting would mean that our people are being subjected to experimental confirmatory tests without going through normal procedure of consent. And this would definitely mean that you are treating our people as guinea pigs. That is the clarification I'm seeking, because this is all in your statement. It's a mere trial preparation. You are testing the vaccine, the Ebola Sudan vaccine on the people, merely conducting confirmatory tests on them. That would be in violation and absolute breach of the rights that these people are entitled to.
Actually, that is going to be answered in the bill that is coming next.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Allow me, first of all, to inform my honorable colleague that the reason why today we have an Ebola vaccine for Ebola Zaire is because such trials were conducted in West Africa during that big outbreak. So it is extremely pertinent that whenever an outbreak takes place, we take the opportunity to quickly conduct such trials so that in future you have something to protect the population. And in this regard, Ebola Sudan is only present in South Sudan and in Uganda. And this outbreak provides a very good opportunity to conduct the trials. Now, the trial preparations includes preparing protocols, getting consent, putting in place refrigerators and many other things. Any contact to a confirmed case will consent. Nobody will give them a vaccine without consent. The same we did when we got Ebola Zaire crossing over from the DRC. So we are not using anybody as a guinea pig. We are requiring consent. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Madam Speaker, information.
Right, item number 4, laying of papers. Laying of papers, item 4.1.
If you want to grumble in the house, go to the microphone and talk about the speaker. I have powers to suspend you out of this house if you're grumbling because I'm not giving you time to speak. Okay? Next item.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the biannual report, the biannual Inspectorate of Government Performance report to Parliament dated January to June 2021. I beg to lay.
Thank you, honorable members. Article 2311 of the Constitution of Uganda, 1995, requires the IGG to submit to Parliament at least once in every 6 months a report of its performance and of course the functions that are embedded on it plus the recommendations. And here today we receive a report from IGG of 20, which was brought on 20th October 2022. And that was under Article 2313 of the Constitution, which requires the Speaker of Parliament to report and submit it to the committee within 3 days after it has been submitted. I therefore refer this report to the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. Please, Lay.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the biannual report of the Inspectorate of Government Performance to Parliament dated July to December 2021. I beg to lay.
Still under Article 231, one of the Constitution that has been received and referred to the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for perusal.
Item 4.3.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table a copy of releases which we have done since this financial year started. That is Q1 and Q2 for this financial year. I beg to lay, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, during yesterday's sitting, a matter arose. Is that what you're laying now?
Madam Speaker, I started with all government votes, and now I come to the matter which was raised yesterday. I committed that before this House that I will bring information regarding releases to local government votes and also Uganda Police. Madam Speaker, in just 1 minute, I wish to inform this House that we have so far released Uganda shillings 2.54 trillion against the approved budget of Uganda shillings 4.805 trillion, representing an average release performance of 53% to local government votes. And we have also released Uganda Police under vote 114. A total approved budget was 900 billion 336 million, out of which Uganda shillings 453.64 billion has been released for half year, representing 51%. Madam Speaker, this is consistent with my submission yesterday that Uganda police vote and other security agencies' votes are protected and they don't suffer budget cuts. And also, my submission confirms that for local government votes, we have released up to 100% for this quarterly release. I beg to lay on table. Right on the screen.
Please lay and we'll refer that to the Committee of Budget for scrutiny. And the committee will report back to the House. And then we'll analyze whether what you're saying is the same as what the minister said yesterday. Because there's inconsistency between what was said and what you're saying now. Next item.
Item number 5, motion for reconsideration of the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill 2022 as returned by the President.
Honorable members, as I communicated yesterday, His Excellency the President of Uganda returned the Parliamentary Pension Amendment Bill 2022 via the letter dated 13th October 2022. I referred the bill to the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, and the committee is ready to report. But before the report, I invite the sponsor of the bill, that is the Honorable Adenaito Rakajara, who is being represented by Margaret, Honorable Margaret, for a reconsideration pursuant to Rule 1433 of Rules of Procedure, and thereafter we shall have the chairperson of the committee. And as you recall, there was only one clause. This bill should not even take 5 minutes. Can you go ahead, Maggie?
In accordance with the Rule 143.3 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill 2022, returned by His Excellency the President, be reconsidered by the House.
Thank you so much, Honorable Margaret. Is the motion seconded? Seconded by a Minister of Finance this time around, by leader of government of business, by Honorable Silwanyi, by her Shadow Attorney General, by Nancy, by Stephen, by the whole House. The motion is seconded. Can I now invite the chairperson to say a word about her bill? Honorable members, this bill is very important to this house. That's why you see Gomba is really preparing for it.
Madam Speaker and the House, I would like to present the report of the Sectoral Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs on the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill 2002 as returned by His Excellency the President. I have documents that I would like to lay on table, a copy of the report on the bill, a set of minutes, a copy of the President's letter, a copy of the bill as returned by His Excellency the President. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, before I begin, I would like to recognize the members of my committee. Without them, I wouldn't have done this report. I would like them to stand up for recognition.
They're actually on the record. We can read them very well.
Okay. This is a...
Just take us to the conclusion.
This is a 9-page report, but the conclusion, maybe, Madam, if I could read the introduction, then the conclusion. Thank you. The Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill 2002 was read for the first time on 19th July 2002 and was pursuant to Rule 129(1) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, referred to the Sectoral Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for scrutiny. In accordance with Rule 129(2) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, the committee examined the bill and prepared a report on the same. On 7th September 2022, Parliament considered and passed the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill 2022, and the Clerk to Parliament transmitted a presentation copy to the President for assent. The President, in accordance with Article 91(3)(b) of the Constitution, withheld his assent to the bill and returned it to Parliament for reconsideration. The President, in a letter addressed to the Right Honorable Speaker dated 13th October 22, expressed reservations about Clause 2 of the bill, which proposes to amend Section 6.2 to increase government's contribution towards the member from 30 to 40%. In Clause 2, the President objected to the amendment to Section 6.2 of the Parliamentary Pensions Act, which proposes to increase contribution of government towards the member from 30 to 40%, reasoning that Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development advised that the bill that was presented to them for assessment of its financial implications did not include amendments to increase government's contribution. The President also reasoned that the appropriate quantum for contribution can only be determined by an actuarial evaluation of the parliamentary pension scheme, and therefore he cannot assent to the bill and returned it for reconsideration. The recommendation, Madam Speaker, is at page 7. In light of the above, the committee recommends that Clause 2 of the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill 2002 is amended to remove the proposed increase in government's contribution. Then we go on to the need for actuarial study, but I won't go into reading that. The recommendation, the committee recommends that the Parliamentary Pension Scheme Board of Trustees, in exercise of the powers granted to it under Section 23 of the Parliamentary Pensions Act, appoints within 6 months of adoption of this resolution a duly accredited actuary to, among other things, review the quantum of government contribution and make recommendations. In conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the committee has examined the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill 2002 and recommends that the reservations by the President be sustained and the bill amended as recommended by the President. I beg to report.
Thank you so much, Chairperson of Legal and Parliamentary Committee and your team. The floor is now open. Yes, a motion. There is a motion by Asuman.
Madam Speaker, for the record, I sit on the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. But the motion I intend to move is not related to my being a member of the committee. It's outside that.
But a beneficiary.
Yes, Madam Speaker, this is a straightforward report. The letter was read here. It's a one-item referral by the President. I therefore move a motion that the House constitutes itself into a committee of the whole House to discuss and debate this single item issue. I beg to move.
Thank you. Is that seconded? It is seconded. I now put a question that the Parliamentary Pension Amendment Bill 2022, as returned by His Excellency the President, be reconsidered by this House. Those in favor say the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Bills Committee state.
Clause 2.
Yeah.
Clause 2, amendment of Section 6 of Principal Act. Clause 2 of the bill is amended by repealing paragraph B. Justification: to remove the increment in government contribution towards the member of the scheme in light of the objection by His Excellency the President, in order for the Board of Trustees of the Parliamentary Pension Scheme to appoint an actuary to carry out a study to determine the appropriate quantum of government's contribution.
Honorable Margaret.
Yeah, right, Honorable Speaker, I can see.
Thank you. Honorable Minister of Finance.
Madam Chair, I agree with the proposal by the committee.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2 as amended.
I put a question that clause 2 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for resumption of the House.
Chair. Mover of the motion.
Right, Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I move that the report from the committee and the whole House.
I move that the House do resume. Resumption, we are on resumption.
Sorry. I move that the House is resumed.
And the committee of the whole House report there too. Please do, please do.
Madam Chair, I beg to move that the House do resume and the committee of the whole House reports there too.
I put a question that the House do resume and the committee of the whole House reports there too. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Report of the committee of the whole House.
Sir.
Madam Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the bill entitled the Parliamentary Pensions Bill 2022 as returned by His Excellency the President and passed it with his proposed amendment.
Passed it with amendment of clause 2.
And passed it with proposed amendment of clause 2.
Thank you.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Sponsor.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the report from the Committee of the Whole House be adopted.
I put a question that the House adopts the report of the Committee of the Whole House, and those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Bill, third reading, the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill 2022.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill 2022 as returned by the President be read for the third time and do pass.
I put a question that the Parliamentary Pension Amendment Bill 2022 be read the third time and do pass. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act, the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Act 2022.
Bill passed and title settled. Congratulations, all the members of Parliament, for your bill, and congratulations, the leadership of legal. Thank you for doing the work, and we thank you so much with the whole committee plus the whole house. And finance, this time defend our bill. We thank you so much, finance, for being there. Can we go to the next?
Motion for reconsideration of the.
I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, and the Finance. Right Honourable Speaker, this bill that we've just passed is so critical to our welfare that we should not live in pretense about its significance. We want to get assurance from the Minister for Finance how best we bring it back without offending the law and the provisions thereunder, and that next time you don't advise, because the President's letter was very clear. It is you who advised the President that there was an irregularity. It is you, and you're always coming here for loans, and we support them. When it comes to our issues, you are advising the President. Otherwise, you know what it means to be a member of Parliament, and after leaving office, you see how our colleagues are living. And it's not a matter we should beat about the bush. You know how we live after Parliament. Nobody wants to employ a former MP. And most of our colleagues are suffering. So the issue of pension is very critical. We should not be shy about it. So we need some confirmation and assurance that next time a matter of this nature comes, you are real on our side. Don't go and give the President information to the effect that MPs are seeking for an entitlement which is abstract. There is nobody in the country that is not receiving a pension.
Honorable members.
I thank you.
Honorable members, this is a moment of brutal truth and honesty. And this concerns us. It actually concerns you, not me. Mine is secured. Now, if you are asked about your own pension, the minister, just give the members an assurance that this time around, you will give the president a go-ahead to sign the act. Pardon? Stephen, we are not in a debate again. It is expert information. Honorable members, I'm going to take you to the next item, because after getting an assurance, give us an assurance first. Stephen, you'll talk in the next item, because I know you're an expert in the next one.
The expert information was here, Speaker. Honorable. Madam Speaker, we are in this together, and that is why I agreed with the committee that the bill passes as proposed, and I want to assure this House that I will not put further comments to this bill.
Honorable members, tomorrow we'll send this bill to the president, and I expect the minister to write his letter recommending for signing. Next item.
Motion for reconsideration of the Public Health Amendment Bill 2022 as returned by His Excellency the President.
Honorable members, you recall that at the start of this sitting, I varied the order paper and included this motion for reconsideration, and this is the Public Health Amendment Bill 2022 as returned by the President. And the items that the President raised are direct items. They are very clear, that do not need much explanation. I referred this bill to the committee. Committee has done its work. The minister is here, and under Rule 143(3) of the Rules of Procedure, I now invite the minister to move a motion for reconsideration of the motion of the bill.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the bill, Public Health Bill, as returned by His Excellency the President, be reconsidered by this House. I beg to move.
Is the motion seconded? Seconded by Honorable Bahati, Honorable Gomba, Honorable Finance, Silwani, Nanyondun, Veronica, my neighbor, even my doctor, even you, even Mujicha sent by the whole house. I can see folks, Enos. Honorable members, the minister spoke about this motion when it was presented the first time. It was brought in. I now invite the chairperson to give us a brief about the bill.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. For the record, I'm the chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Health. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm here to present the report titled Report of the Committee on Health on Reconsideration of the Public Health Amendment Bill 2021 as returned by His Excellency the President. I would like to lay the following document: original copy of the report signed by the committee members, I beg to lay. Right Honorable Speaker.
Please lay.
Right Honorable Speaker, I would also like to lay the committee report minutes, sorry, of the proceedings. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Right Honorable Speaker, with your guidance, I would like to read an abridged version of the introduction and then a summary, and then we can maybe proceed to the closest. In accordance with Rule 143, Sub-Rule 1 and 2 of the Rules of Procedure, on 1st November 2022, the Right Honorable Speaker referred the Public Health Amendment Bill 2021 as returned by His Excellency the President to the Committee on Health for reconsideration. The committee reconsidered the Public Health Amendment Bill 2021, taking into account His Excellency the President's concerns, and now begs to report. Right Honorable Speaker, in summary, the President's concerns were drawn from 4 key thematic areas, and they were further centered around nomenclature. Most times, Right Honorable Speaker, we use the words immunization and vaccination interchangeably. The President's concerned, he preferred the use of vaccination as opposed to immunization, and the committee thinks his preference was right. Vaccination is the act of giving a vaccine, Right Honorable Speaker and members, while immunization is a series of physiological events that take place in the body for one to acquire immunity. So the committee feels that His Excellency, the President, was right in requiring the committee to replace the word immunization with vaccination. And that means the clauses were consequential. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, the President's concern was about seeking authorization to destroy infectious beddings, clothes, and articles. In the interest of time, when you are faced with an infectious disease like Ebola, there is no need to seek for authorization from the local councils. So the power should be given to the discretion of the medical officer, in this case, the district health officer. The third point, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, was again to do with nomenclature, where in the report, the committee had proposed the word Minister of Agriculture, and the President recommends that that is changed either to Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, or to the Minister responsible for agriculture. For animal health, my apologies. And the committee thinks that that should be the Minister responsible for animal and plant health, since we could get diseases from both plants and animals. And finally, Right Honorable Speaker, the other point of contention is the powers of the Director General of Health Services to appoint, and the President thinks that the Director General should assign, because he has no powers to appoint. Right Honorable Speaker, briefly, those were the 4 areas of concern. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, Dr. Yume. And the floor is open. The bill was returned, and it's motion from, yes.
Thank you very much, Veteran Speaker. Veteran Speaker, I have listened to the chair of the Health Committee. I'm also in possession of the letter referring this bill to Parliament. And in the report of the committee, Veteran Speaker, there is no minority report. And the issues that relate to this bill, one amendment only has a consequential effect on the other provisions. I beg to move a motion, Madam Speaker, that we move straight away to committee stage to consider the issues raised.
Thank
Given
you,
this
Honorable
feedback,
Suman.
I
Is
beg
that
to move.
seconded? Seconded by Ethel. And Anifa and Dr. there. Thank you so much. I now put a question that the Public Health Amendment Bill 2022 as returned by His Excellency the President be reconsidered by this House. Those in favor stand, the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The Public Health Amendment Bill 2022, Bills Committee stage. Clause 2.
Chair, clause 2.
Right Honorable Speaker, clause 2 of the bill is amended in paragraph M by inserting a new paragraph as follows. Vaccination means the process or act of giving someone a vaccine. The justification is to ease the interpretation of Part 7 of the Act.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I concur.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. Those in favor stand, the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2 as amended.
I put a question that clause 2 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand, the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
Clause 11, Chair.
Clause 11 of the bill is amended. Subclause A in the proposed subsection 1 by substituting for the word seek the permission of the authority or local government authorizing the destruction of. The word destroy and subclause B by deleting paragraph C. The justification is the amendment in the proposed subsection 1 is intended to remove requirement for seeking authorization of the authority or local government before the destruction of bedding, clothing, or any other article that are infected with an infectious disease or are exposed to infection from any infectious disease, since this will cause delay in curbing the spread of highly infectious diseases like Ebola. Any delay in destroying such beddings can aggravate the spread of diseases. Bullet 2, the proposal to delete paragraph C is a consequential amendment in light of the amendment made under proposed subsection 1 of section 14. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
I concur.
I put a question that clause 11 be amended as proposed. Those in favor stand, the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11 as amended.
I put a question that clause 11 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand, the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 19.
Chair.
Clause 19 of the bill is amended in the proposed subsection 2 by substituting for the word minister responsible for agriculture, the word minister responsible for plants and animal health. The justification is for clarity to specifically impose the duty of enacting rules to the minister responsible for animal health, since the rules envisaged in the proposed subsection are intended to prevent the spread from any animal or the carcass or product of any animal to man, from any plant or part of the plant or product. Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker, I concur.
I put a question that clause 19 be amended as proposed. Those in favor stand, the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 19 as amended.
I put a question that clause 19 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand, the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 29.
Chair,
Clause 29 is amended by substituting for the word immunization, the word vaccination. The justification, it is a consequential amendment arising from the substitution of the word immunization with the word vaccination under Part 7 of the Act.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I concur.
I put a question that clause 29 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. You can't even say aye. The ayes have it.
Clause 29 as amended.
I put a question that clause 29 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 30.
Clause 30, Chair.
Clause 30 of the
Honorable members, don't get Honorable Minister of Health advised us that we should always have the house up to 5. So we're about to reach 5 and we go. For health reasons, for everybody. The ayes have it.
Clause 30 of the bill is amended in paragraph A in the definition of the word vaccinator by substituting for the word appointed, the word assigned. The justification, the amendment is intended to harmonize the provisions with the powers of the Director General, since he is not empowered to appoint staff under the law.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I concur.
I put a question that clause 30 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 30 as amended.
I put a question that clause 30 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it. You know,
Clause 31.
those ones who are saying no even don't know what they are saying.
Clause 31.
Clause 31, Chair.
Clause 31 of the bill is amended in the proposed subsection, in the proposed section 38. Subclause A in the head note and wherever the word appears in the provisions by substituting for the word immunization, the word vaccination. B, by substituting for subsection 1, the following. Subject to subsection 2, a parent of a child resident in Uganda shall ensure that a child is vaccinated free of charge against immunizable diseases appropriate for age and schedule as may be declared as such by the minister by statutory instrument. C, in subsection 2, by substituting for the word immunize, the word vaccinated. D, in subsection 3, 4, and 5, by substituting for the word immunization card, the word vaccination card. The justification in medical terms, the word vaccination is not entirely synonymous with immunization, as the two processes may lead to entirely different outcomes. Indeed, vaccination on one hand describes the act of receiving a vaccine, while immunization on the other hand describes the process of becoming immune through vaccination. The proposed substitution of subsection 1 is intended to remove the timeline within which vaccines should be administered, since they may be administered even beyond the 12 months prescribed in the provision after birth. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I concur.
I put a question that clause 31 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 31 as amended.
I put a question that clause 31 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 37.
Clause 37, Chair.
Clause 37 of the bill is amended in the proposed section 45 by substituting for the word immunization card and immunization appearing in subsections 1, 2, and 3, the word vaccination card and vaccination respectively. The amendment to the proposed section 45 is a consequential amendment arising from the substitution of the word immunization with the word vaccination under Part 7 of the Act. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I concur.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 37 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 37 as amended.
I put a question that clause 37 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for resumption of the House.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Chair, I beg to move that the House do resume and the Committee of the Whole House report thereto.
I put a question that the House does resume and the Committee of the Whole House reports thereto. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has reconsidered the bill entitled the Public Health Amendment Bill as returned by His Excellency the President and passed the 6 clauses as recommended.
And the 6 clauses include clause 2, 11, 31, 35, 37.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the report from the Committee of the Whole House be adopted.
I put a question that the House adopts the report of the Committee of the Whole House. Those in favor say on to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Bill's third reading, the Public Health Amendment Bill 2022.
Honorable Minister of Health.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Public Health Amendment Bill be read the 3rd time and do
Amendment Bill 2022.
I beg to move that the bill entitled the Public Health Amendment Bill 2022 be read the 3rd time and do pass.
I put a question that the Public Health Amendment Bill 2022 be read the 3rd time and do pass. Those in favor say on to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act titled the Public Health Amendment Act 2022.
The bill passed and title settled. Congratulations. I want to thank Dr. Yume with the team of your doctors and nurses in your committee. By the way, that is a committee that is comprised of almost all doctors. It's a very powerful committee. I want to congratulate you upon this bill. I want to congratulate the Minister of Health with your team and thank in a special way the shadow from the other side and the whole house. You've been here since 2, and since we've been asked by the medical personnel to always be in the house up to 5, and you will respect that. You know, we have only one Minister of Health. We will respect that. But before we adjourn, there was something mentioned about Honorable Kawalia, and I will request Honorable Kawalia to bring a written statement tomorrow in response to what has been said about you, because we want to know whether it is true, and that would help the whole house. Yes. Honorable members, as I said earlier on, we are going to make sure that we do roll call. Members who think that they were voted in to come and just be in Kampala, we are going to make sure that we report you back to your voters. Members must attend the house. If you're not in the house, you're in the constituency. And if you're in a constituency like Mubende, then we expect you to be here. So we are going to be doing roll call. This is where you're meant to be. This is your job. I thank you so much. I adjourn the house to 2 tomorrow.